Hey everybody, we're done with Momir and we're going to head into an RNA ranked draft. RNA is back on Magic the Gathering Arena and we're going to check it out. It won the voting. We're going to spend gems to do it. We don't have gold. We don't have 5,000 gold. We got a lot of gems. We're at 13,000 gems on our free-to-play account, so that's pretty healthy. We're going to dip into that a little bit to go back in time to RNA, where we have a full 4X. So we have 4X of all rares and mythics. So rare drafting is something to consider because we get sweet, sweet gems with every rare or mythic we pick in the format. And I tend to lean towards the Esper Control-ish stuff, but also bots have historically undervalued Gruul stuff a lot. So we can end up in a green deck if the bots are going to shove green down our throats or whatever. But in general, I like to be in the Esper Control corner of this this format. And before we go in, though, I want to thank Card Kingdom. They are my sponsor. They help make this stream possible, and they help make tabletop Magic possible for many, many people around the world. They ship to all corners of the globe, wherever they can pay somebody to take a package, they'll get it to you, basically. And when it gets there, it's going to be exactly what you expected, exactly what you ordered, exactly the price you agreed to, and no surprises, except for pleasant ones. Sometimes there's something in the package that makes for a pleasant surprise that you weren't expecting, but a negative surprise is just so highly unlikely. And if you ever do have some kind of negative surprise, please take it up with Card Kingdom's customer support. It's about as good as like Wizards of the Coast customer support in terms of just making sure the customer feels great about the transaction they have. They will do that for you. So, but you're probably not going to have to. But it's always good to know that if you ever had to, they'd be there for you. So thank you so much, Card Kingdom, for supporting this stream. Let's jump in. Yes, their condition is at or better. Usually the condition surprise I have, Mama, is that I order a lightly played and I'm like, what did they see on this? Lightly played how? All right, you know. All right, what do we got here? Arrester's Admonition leaps out at me as a great spell for the kind of control deck that I was talking about, although Consecrate Consume is even better than that for that. But Nikya is good for 20 gems, if nothing else. Fenor wants to just take Nikya and force Gruul. No, we're not going to be forcing Gruul here. We may take it for the gems, but I don't really like it. It's not bad. It's not a steady card. It's not. I just want a solid double, and this is just like not even strikeout home run. It's like strikeout double, you know, like when it works it feels like a double, but when it doesn't you just feel agony. But you can take it for gems here. Engineer is a great playable in Simic, but I think if we're taking, this is clearly the pick to me for card power, and then this is the gems. Since I'm gonna go card power, this is almost certainly correct. But I love Esper Control so much, and this is a great place to start on Esper Control. So if this was like a really powerful green-red card, like that was first pickable, or a green card, I would take Nikya. But this is so in my wheelhouse of what I want to do in the format that I'm willing to forsake the gems for it. And I'll get into draft view. Let's get out of your way here. Here we go. And on that front, I like a Grotesque Demise here, or Law Mage's Binding if we just want to embrace the 3-color right away. But I don't see why you would take this over Grotesque when being straight Orzhov is really nice if you can get it. So might as well take the Demise. Oh, another thing, we are back into a format where we should be able to look up print runs. RNA had print runs, and I'll show you how to use them when we get to a pack that has that has an uncommon missing. Drill Bit, is it good? It's not great. If you are a control deck, you're not often triggering Spectacle, in which case it's a 3-mana effect and it's not really worth the 3. And if you're an aggro deck, I don't know if you really care about the effect all that much, but it's not unplayable in Rakdos. It's just also one general problem with discard is that it tends to be a bad top deck, because if you're getting to a point in the game where everybody's playing off the top, you get drill bit and it does nothing, and it's really brutal to draw a blank like that in a top decking war. So that's the drawback of running discard in limited. Although I do like the Surveil discard from GRN was one of my favorite cards in that format. Firewheeler is very good, but I can't justify, like, if you take away this Grotesque Demise and make this like just something unplayable so that our next best card is Lawmage's Binding, then I'm with you. But I think the Demise makes that this is the second place behind Demise to me for color considerations, especially. Summary Judgment's an excellent removal spell as well. Keeps us in the 2-color lane. Terramander's a fine win condition for a control deck, but we don't even really care how we win if we're going super control here. If we branch into blue, we're going super control, in which case we don't need the Terramander as much as we need just something. And if we stay Summary Judgment, we can stay black-white for now and potentially stay in just the Orzhov lane. So we're going to take Summary Judgment. Oh, let me let's see. I have Deck Master open. Terry can be scary. You're not wrong. Although, funnily enough, we cannot. We still don't have any pick order because we got 3 uncommons still in the pack. But I'm not looking at the voting because I don't have that up. Hold on. Let me pop out this player so I can see how y'all might be voting. Any voting going on? Let's see. Oh, it's not showing it. It's allowing you to do it, but not showing it. I thought at least the voting worked on old sets, but maybe not. All right. Summary Judgment's where we're at, though. All right, here's where this admonition just leaps out and says, all right, Esper, Esper, Esper. We can take Consign to the Pit, but it's just not good enough to take here. We're going to hard turn towards Esper. I told you I might. I told you that's how I leaned, and here I am leaning. Oh, this would be a great pick if we had done the Gruul stuff. And there's nothing great here. We'll take a gate, though. Maybe the Plaza. No, we'll take an on-color, 2-color gate over the Plaza, I think. Oh, Oligarch's here, though. Now I'm confused. Like, I suddenly, for some reason, was not seeing the Oligarch, and that's a really interesting choice. I guess we take Oligarch over gate because we could not run the admonition and still be straight Orzhov. And if we're splashing the blue, we could still run Grandma anyway. Yeah, let's take Oligarch. I just kind of missed her there for a second. Ooh, Gateway Sneak, but we got Juggler? Gateway Sneak, Juggler. This is somewhat of a turning point. I think this is better in the Esper control deck. But this obviously lets us continue on the path toward possibly staying 2-color. So it's a little bit more of the flexible pick, and it's obviously very good as well. Yeah, I think we should probably go with flexibility here, although this hurts. It hurts. Oh man, doesn't hurt at all. Rewarded. I guess we're trying straight Orzhov, or we could still end up splashing blue, you never know, but this is putting us more and more towards mid-range Orzhov. Sentinel's Mark could support that mid-rangey Orzhov plan, or we could take a first Clear the Mind as a hedge. I kind of like first Clear the Mind as a hedge, since Sentinel's Mark is the only cost. Sentinel's Mark and Scavenger, which I don't heavily respect either. So we'll take the blue hedge here. Eel could add to the blue hedge, but frankly, if we end up in Esper, we might not even play the Eel. But are we really playing an officer in Orzhov if we end up black-white? We wouldn't be happy, but we might. But it's so replaceable, I'm going to take the Eel. Drillbit came back. Justiciar's Portal is generally not playable, but it can be if you have enough ETB, and Oppo is showing enough removal, although this is not a sideboarding situation. But I've brought in Portal out of the board before, and it's not unplayable in the main if you're doing enough ETB nonsense, you know? Oh yeah, now we can actually look at print run stuff, although I don't know how much use we're going to get out of it now. But if you see the link that Raptor posted in chat, it takes you to a paste bin list of all the uncommons in the set and what order they're in. So if we look up Drillbit, oh, we know it was taken anyway because we saw this pack, but it just bears it out. You know, like the Firewheeler is always next to the Gruul Beastmaster. So it's a known... Yeah, we can take Drillbit now. It's a good place for the Drillbit. But it was a known pick, but I was just showing you how to use that feature in general. Wench, Giant, double wah. I don't think we're ever playing this. It's almost like I'll just take Vault Progress over any of this stuff. I don't want to play any of that. Consign might make this deck if we don't get better stuff. And, ooh, well, maybe we're cutting the colors correctly here. None of these are actually amazing, but good to see that it's all here in our colors at least. Officer or Courier on the spec? I guess we'll go Officer. Exposed to Daylight is playable in the main. There's another Giant to not play. Immolation Shaman for the gems, or Final Payment. We certainly take our first Final Payment, and it would not be a bad pick here. We take Terramander for the blue splash. If we didn't get any lands for that, though, or we can just take gems here. We forsook gems before, but we could take it now. Rob Bot asks to explain how Vault Progress works. Vault Progress used to be the entire system for all rarities on giving you value for acquiring a 5th or greater copy of a card. Since they have rare protection and now give gems for rares and mythics when you acquire a 5th or greater copy of a card, they have restricted the Vault Progress stuff to uncommons and commons only, and basically it's a nominal percentage amount towards 100% that you get when you pick an uncommon or a common that you have 4 of, and when you get to 100%, it unlocks a chest or a vault, so to speak, with 1 mythic rare wild card, 2 rare wild cards, and 3 uncommon wild cards. We have a Simic Guildgate underneath here, so it's not really a consideration. Thanks for asking that, Jason. Norbert trying to get to 1,000% because reasons, I guess. There's also Footlight Fiend that could be in the deck. I think we're doing well enough. Pack 1 was good enough for us that I'm going to take gems here. We can give up a Final Payment for some gems. Here is a nice... Can I just take this pack? This is a total scoop up the pack moment. We have the Unblockable Plague White, the Afterlifey Enforcer, Clear the Mind likely to wheel, Dead Revels likely to wheel, Final Payment, another shot at that, the Sphinx's Insight for the Esper play or the Guildgate. Yikes. It's probably Enforcer or White, but I honestly don't know which of these is actually better for us. Miles wants Orzhov Enforcer, but there's a good argument for Plague White with what we're up to here. We only have, yeah, I definitely like taking a 2-drop creature here, given our curve so far. Enforcer blocks everything, but if we are aggro-leaning Orzhov, we want the Plague White for sure. If we're defensive-leaning Orzhov, we want the Enforcer. If we're aggro-leaning, we want Plague White. You know, with Juggler that we want to get down on 3. That's what I'm thinking, Steven. A lot of chat seems to think we're enforcing, and maybe in the long run we are. Maybe, and also if we backdoor into blue, into Esper, we will want this. Only one is happy with white, but they're really happy with white. This also might wheel. We might be able to wheel the white with what's going on. This kind of actually gets in for juggler as well, though, because like you attack with this, and if they block, you at least get a flyer that can probably get the juggler down next turn. All right, I actually think this is probably the better pick, if I'm honest, but I think this has a reasonable chance of wheeling with what we saw. So I'm actually going to take the Enforcer because there's a reason, there's some percent chance, some percent of the time we actually get the white back. So I'm going to take the Enforcer. Savage Smash for the Gruul deck that could have been. Probably just want a doggy here, though. Although we could, if we're really aggro, we could take Caracal, but I would rather just take Footlight Fiend or Orator in that spot. Kind of wish we had a rare to take here. But we don't. So I think just doggy is probably going to be fine. Here's a binding or the land to support a binding or Angelic Exaltation. And I haven't had great success with Angelic Exaltation, but it's worked here and there. Kind of like the binding or the Guild Gate, though. I think we take the binding and then look to pick up gates later. And because if we do get to add in the blue and make this full Esper, I think it's the best, one of the best places to be in the format if you don't have Colossi. And actually, it also stops one of the big problems of the format, which is the uncommon 8/8 Colossus. So I'm going to take binding, be a little bit greedy here, and we'll try and see what we can find for fixing. I'm going to take a second judgment here over something like an angel. It's not time to talk plan. I think we're talking plan as we go here, but basically we're still looking as to whether or not we're including this blue or not. And I hedge towards being able to add it with that binding pick, but really we're just looking for signs as to whether or not we're going to be straight Orzhov or include the blue. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are fine here, but I just don't see it anything being better than the second judgment. And now here's where I do want to take this gate and set that up, because there's nothing, we're giving up an Orator or an Infiltrator or Dead Revels. So now we get the gate and try to move towards being able to play all this stuff. Don't think we can justify a Sphinx, although that's a really interesting pick that it's here this late. I don't know how we move into blue-white. Like, what... You want to splash? I guess that's possible. We just lose the Oligarchs, which are really powerful, and probably the Enforcer. But the opportunity cost for taking the Sphinx is only these mediocre white cards, so we should take the Sphinx. Yes, is it good, though? I just don't think it's actually that good. I've never been impressed with this Scavenger. I've never really cared about the card. I'm going to take Sphinx. Sky Tether is good, but if we are getting into the blue territory even more, let's take the Insight. Final Payment came around, so we were not punished at all for rare drafting. Next pick is going to see whether that that white came around or not. White did not, but Final Payment number 2 is still here, but Sphinx's Insight number 2 is still here. Clear the Mind, number 2. I'm going to take another Insight, I think. I don't think we're ever playing this drill bit. At this point, I think the card quality is such that we're not playing Officer either, ever. And probably even not even consign the pit. We could take this, but I don't feel the need yet. I think we can get one more in the next pack. I'm going to take another Insight. Hey, Viper. Just getting myself into trouble here. What are you up to? Maybe we play this. Probably not. I don't think I'm running that 2-drop. We could take Sentinel's Mark, but I don't think we're ever running a Prowling Caracal, are we? Maybe we have to at some level, but if we're just to have some not get run over defense. Is Mark fine in this deck, though? Right now we have one creature, you know, like, we're very low on creatures is my point. But these are so replaceable. I'll take a Mark. We can get as many stupid cats as we want. I don't think we're playing Mark or the cat, hopefully. I'll take that. Mammoth Spider on general principle. Emergency Powers is not particularly playable, but it is 40 gems, so we're going to snap it up and see that really our cost is this Guild Gate. That's like the you can't see it because of the draft view, but ooh, I need to update again. Orzhov Guild Gate is the gate we have, which I would like, and Slimebind is good as well, but we're going to take a straight 40. Hey, who's calling for a cutie? Guess what we got? Occam's Razor, bringing the superpowers. And a cutie is the kind of card that is worth more than the gem grind to me. I think this produces more than 20 gems worth of value towards the win percentage of the deck. Yeah, I might find another Clear the Mind, and that becomes our win con. Chili Bee probably coming in here. Over Depose, Deploy, or Final Payment. I've been unimpressed with Depose, Deploy. Really? You all think this is better? I have been so unimpressed. Feel like I guess it works with Acuity, so there's that. All right, changed your sheets. We changed our sheet. We try to change our sheets regularly, but I'm sure we don't do it as often as is recommended. All right, I'll take the Depose Deploy because we are kind of moving in on the Acuity front, but I've been historically pretty unimpressed with it. We'll see. There's also gems we could take here too. But we've gotten some good gem drafting in. Let's take one for the deck here. Also for the science. I want to see. You guys are saying you're impressed. Let's see if we can figure that out. Dumb Flyer over Dumb Shimmer. Yeah. Or this Dumb Flyer if we want 2s. It's probably wheels though. I'll take that. More Summary Judgments, but I think this, if we're gonna, do we want to splash black, or are we now suddenly veering towards straight blue-white? I think we want to try and at least splash the black, so let's take the gate. We'll splash one or the other. Figure it out. Cry can be reasonable in these control-ish decks, but Azorius Knight Arbiter is a reasonable win con. Hey, another gate, which we're going to take over removal. Definitely want to try and get 3 colors here. Another gate is available to us, as is a Thrall. Wow, so what do you think we need more to compete with this deck? A 3rd gate for our black, which is becoming the black splash, or a Thrall? Fenrir thinks we need more win con. Viper and Frumsy agree. Yeah, the trouble is, boy, it's really tough to cast all the stuff we want to cast with just the gates we have. I get the desire for the Thrall, but we also were on pick 8, and we didn't see any Clear the Mines, so I think we're done with Clear the Mines. Thrall is more oomph, but we need to play 3 colors here, so I think we need to take the gate. We're going to have to try to win off of Sphinx of New Prov, Senate Griffin, Azorius Knight Arbiter, and just grinding them out. I think that's the way it's got to be. Thigh Grasping Thrall. I'm gonna take the land. And more removal or transport. Or here's the kitty I said we could have 1 million of if we wanted, so we can get one of these. Transport. I think I'm going to take the transport. It's not a great... It's not really what you want to be doing with 6 mana, but it's one of those 6 mana cards that when you do actually face it or play it, you're like, you know, this is all right. This is going to trade for something on the ground and make a couple of flyers. That's okay. Maybe we don't run it, but I'm going to take this. Hey, look what came around. There's also an Orzhov Locket, but I'm going to take the Admonition. This coming down to the Acuity, frankly. If we get, I feel like we don't lose if we get Dovin's Acuity out, and it's close if we don't. Shimmer comes around, probably not playing it, but we'll pull it in the board. Prying Eyes, also probably not playing it. We have so much card draw in other capacities. All right. 60 gems on the grind. Let me make note of that. Quick update of the spreadsheet. This is RNA. I don't know what shade of Esper we're going to be. We're definitely a shade of Esper. And 60 on the grind. All right. Well, with all those gate picks, we only have 2 cuts to make from this whole deck, and our current number, we have 10 creatures, 15 non-creatures. Not unusual for an Acuity-style deck. Yeah, this mana is going to be interesting, but we ended up with 4 gates, and that's pretty good. It really does allow us to stuff some islands in here. I think we cut the mark. It was a pretty easy cut. Next cut is a little tougher. This is realistically like a 4. This is more realistically a 4 as well. So our curve is really like this. Yeah, who's the dog protecting, huh? Good call. Probably just that. But this leaves us with kind of the devil's mana base in the abstract. I mean, we have these gates to help make it work. But we're going to be running a lot of islands, given how little we want islands on turn 2. But it's just kind of where we're at. But it's really rough because we cannot play an island before turn 3 and resolve an Oligarch on 2. So that's not great, honestly, but it's the cost of this deck, I think. And I'm going to keep the Expose in. This card is pretty stellar in the format. There's a ton of enchantments and artifacts that you need to get rid of. Or that you need to, that are useful to get rid of. So we're going to happily keep the main deck exposed. I think this is where we want to be, and I think it looks pretty good. It's just the mana. The mana is rough because we're going to run this Sphinx. I mean, we could cut the Sphinx and really reduce the amount of blue we need to run, but we still need to run some, and we want an early acuity, so it's not like we get away from it. And then if it's like, well, Sphinx got stuck in our hand for a bit, but then we finally resolved it and helped win, then that would be great. Yeah, a second clear, like if I had a second clear the mind, I'd practically want to play it over the Sphinx and just try to win that way. Yeah, we can't give it up. I thought I would take a look and see what it looked like, but it looked incorrect. So I'm going to go with this, and we're going to make sure we have at least 7 of every color. That's like what we're, you know, our floor on blue should be 7, which is what we got now. 6 and 1 for 7 blue. And then white has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and black has 4, 5, 6, 7. So there you go. Not the Devil's mana base, but the Slot Machine mana base. 777. A little awkward, but if we can survive the early game without getting completely run over, I really like where this goes. So with the 777 mana base, we're going to call it Lemons. I want a Slot Machine gag. Give me a good Slot Machine gag here, but it's got to be like a classic Slot Machine because of the 7s. All lemons. Cherries is good. Or how about cherry, cherry, cherry? Right. Based on the Elementals deck yesterday, this is perfect mana. Or bar, bar, bar. Yep, Fenor points out a fun little worst case trick you can pull off with expose. If you just don't have anything to hit with it and you've got acuity out, you can expose your own acuity, bounce the acuity, and at least cycle expose for a card or two, or the acuity and some life. Thanks, Robert. We'll check you later. All right, let's update this info and get to the right place and get going. I like the deck. I think this is a par 4.5. I'm going to go par 4.5. I expect to do well with these, but of course we have the risk of bad mana tripping us up. But if we get any kind of smooth mix of mana and spells with all of our colors, I love where this deck is at. All right, good keep. Got our 3 colors, some card draw, some stalling / bodies. Don't need the transport so early, but we can work around that. Rakdos aggro could be a little awkward if we don't find something else to do before 4 besides depose, but if we have to, we'll depose. Let's see what they got here. All right, that's great for us that they don't have a play there, such that I'm going to just drop our other gate. Since we're only worried about getting run over, seeing a Rakdos deck not play on 2 could not be better.
To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal, light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance!
We got a juggler, but can't play it yet. Guess we're not doing anything except maybe deposing. Yeah, we'll probably depose that Vandal. Keep it down for a turn. Nice. Acuity shows up before we were going to resolve an insight. And, of course, red-black has nothing they can really do about Acuity except try and race us, so that's a good card to try and race us with. But I do, again, like our chances with Acuity and Consume. Like, instant spell during your main phase. Well, maybe we can just Consume now. Unless we think they're going to get much bigger, which they're probably not. Yeah, I'm going to Consume. We're back to 20. And we're going to gain a lot of life here and here, such that it's really going to give us time to find that... what do we call it? Where is it? I can't find it in my list. Exposed to Daylight is one thing we're looking for here. But we're going to go with the Acuity and probably our tap land. Yep. Yeah, that's part of its definite design intent is to give you a sure thing spectacle trigger every turn. I think I just like the Debtor's Transport here. Let's stop them from being able to attack cleanly with Blade Juggler, and we can go ahead, if we want to block, that's fine. Make a couple of flyers and start getting in, get our Blade Juggler down, then cast the Insight. Because if we 6 here, next turn we can 3 and 4 for 7. And once again, this is what I mean about this dude. It's like, it's not great. Nobody's pretending Debtor's Transport is some amazing magic card in any context, but it tends to land and be like, huh, you know, this is actually decent on this board. I just tend to feel that way a lot whenever the transport hits. But you should expect a lot out of your 6 drops. Well, this is interesting because it does give us a block on Blade Juggler if they charge in. Oh, wow. I would absolutely offer my Blade Juggler for those 2 flyers if I were Oppo. We're not going to trade off for that Footlight Fiend, but I think you just got to keep attacking if you're Oppo. That's true. We don't even have to juggle here, although Juggler gives us a legit blocker. Maybe I'll just send in the 1, though. And the other one can threaten to block the Footlight Fiend. Well, it's also possible I should just play Insight first to make sure we know what we're doing for the turn. But I'm going to play Insight here, and then we can decide whether we want to drop Acuity or Juggler. Oh, we're going to re-Acuity off of everything. I mean, that's the thing. We're going to cast Acuity about 17 times this game until Oppo gives up and scoops. But we do want to get into our deck and find that pesky enchantment removal. And let's see, if we play Acuity here, we get the life back. I'm going to play the Juggler. I want the blocker. The only way I'd regret this is if they come up with a drill bit and take this Acuity out of my hand. Hope I didn't just predict my fate there. That would really tilt me, because drill bit, like I said, is not that great of a play. It's playable, though, so, you know, it wouldn't be the worst luck ever, but just crossing the fingers. The last set I worked on was Dominaria. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and offer this for, let's see, if we block the Footlight Fiend, I don't want to take too much credit for Dominaria's awesomeness. I was on the project, I was on the development team as kind of a rotating in designer for like a month to six weeks or so. The most notable card that I designed in Dominaria was the First Eruption. But I'm proud of that one because I think it is very reflective of the power of the sagas to tell a story. Whether the card is good or not, it tells a good story. Okay. Still got to figure out this block situation. If I block the Footlight Fiend, we give up both our flyers. We have a lot of stuff coming up. Yeah, I'm going to save life here. We're going to do it. We do have a lot of life coming, but we want to make sure we get it. We're alive to... that we're alive to get it, so to speak. That Rob bought that probably is my favorite card that I ever helped design, but I also one of my brain to print cards happened in Born of the Gods, and it was Chromanticore, so I also like Chromanticore a lot as one of my design successes. Okay, so let's start with an Acuity and then figure out what's what. Eel, you say? Let's drop island 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could just play the Knight Arbiter and make that Blade Juggler, try and stymie the Blade Juggler with a creature. Let's do that. We're at a high enough life total. They're down to 1 card, so it's unlikely they just straight up have the removal for this. Oh, looks like they do. Unlikely, but still. But anyway, what I was going to say is, and even if they do, we don't end up so down low that we can't get out of this here. Maybe I screwed that up, my insight timing up by not maxing the Acuity stuff, but let's see this. Well, now there should be, again, we're pretty low. We just gotta find, I guess we admonition. Is it just creature? Okay, so we gotta send the juggler back. Unfortunately, it's gonna get them. Oh, how far is the audio off? Let's make it through this game and then we'll do some tests or to try and sync the audio if there's an audio desync, but don't want to lose this game because of it. So hang tight and we'll fix that in a bit. 8 mana we have. We could admonition the Spewer, but we'll just let him rejuggle, I think. Rejuggling is fine. Trouble is that we're at a virtual, like 1. 4 from this. Now we're at a virtual 2. Okay, let's Acuity again then. All right, clear the mind. We'll do that as well. Although this says activated abilities, we could just stop the Spewer from working. Let's do that. We're gonna have to stop it eventually. Give him one last shot. And I almost don't want to clear the mind because I don't want these cards back in. I guess some of them gain life, like this gains life and this gains life, so maybe that's not the worst, but we really want to find the enchantment removal that helps a deck like ours overcome a card like IGI from a Rakdos deck. Yeah, we can just discard land. It's not going to be the pinch point. That's okay if we can find... Ooh, well, that's good too, because we can instant speed it. We don't get the Acuity back, but we don't have to take damage from the Juggler. But we have to clear, unfortunately. Got to clear and see if we can find something. But the spewer, I get that, but the spewer eventually just contributes with the IGI to overwhelm us. That was my thinking, that we did need to turn this off, and this actually turned off the ability. And that we have creatures that can block the juggler. Not Daub yet. Will we get life? Hey, look at that. We did have life with the acuity. In fact, I almost want to, let's see. For acuity, we go to 7, and then 6, and then they won't activate this. How greedy do we be? Do we play the acuity and then follow up with expose that bounces the acuity, or we just expose and be done with it? Probably just expose and be done with it. Okay, we'll expose and be done with it. You see what I mean, though? There is a definite line there where we go to 2, basically, to get even more acuity action. Greed is good until it kills you, right? And we don't want to accidentally die because we did that. If we get an untapped land, we can go Acuity and Eel with Eel activation ready and Summary Judgment ready. All right, so we can do that play, but we don't need to play the island yet. Let's make sure we tap 2 islands to cast this Acuity. Try to get our life total up. Oh, that's interesting. So, Oligarch. Wouldn't mind trading off that Oligarch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can also just go Sphinx of New Prov Oligarch. Or we can just do the play I said, though. Eel plus both Judgment or Activation is good. Let's just do this.
To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance!
Juggler and a land. Not too concerned about their juggler card advantage. I haven't signed up for one yet, Tron, but I will if I get my act together. I usually figure out what Adam is going to do for his pre-release, and then I join Adam and or Marshall for a pre-release. But I love to go to pre-releases when I am able. Yeah, time is just flying by. I'm on the cusp of sending my daughter to college and can't even believe it. All right, that's a little nerve-wracking, but hopefully we're not just dead on board here. Just going for the juggler, I guess. All right, we seem to be roughly stable. We're at a very concerning 4, although sweet draw. Just gonna fire this off right now. Give me that life back, please. And then we have Griffin and Oligarch. That's pretty sweet. Do we start attacking even? Got to get him dead sometime, and we're going to drop 2 creatures that can both trade for the juggler, so I'm going to start putting them to the test. Yes, it's risky to attack Rakdos when you're at 7, but it's risky to give Rakdos a bunch more turns to kill you when you're at 7, so it's a tough balance there. Sphinx is harder to target, so we could just go with that, but if we have to trade for a creature, I'd rather trade for the Griffin. So let's go Senate Griffin, make sure it's leaving us with Oligarch mana. It is. Get that Scry, that'll be good. Night Arbiter seems fine to close this one out, so we're going to leave that on top. Drop Grandma. Not too hard, we don't want her to break. Maybe even get Exploding Chandra here, if they don't have a good, clean way to undo this mess. That's not bad, I can see what they were going for. Let's see, how up against it are we now? Might have to kill our own creature with Summary Judgment to Acuity, so we'll probably do that. So let's start there. Well, since it's going to die anyway, we have our Summary Judgment target. Of course, if we do it now, we don't... Is it main phase? Your main phase, yeah. Gonna have to let the eel go, but at least they both die. Yeah, that's another... Let's figure this out. That's not necessarily the correct line, because we're at 7, we untap and go to 6. They can IGI us down to 2, and in doing so put themselves at a virtual 11. Do they gain life though? So they are at a virtual 12. So for us to be saying that we can kill them next turn, we need to be threatening 12. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is not 12. So yeah, they're forced to blow it up though. You're right. You're right. It does force them to blow it up. Okay, since it forces them to blow it up, we will put that pressure on them and make that play. Yeah, then the idea is we would stay at 2. Unless they, if they have removal, they have removal, but it's at least a line that makes sense. We have a plan. There was the drill bit that could have gotten our Acuity before, so that's one thing. All right, hanging on. Can we survive some burn? No, they're not scooping. Okay. Don't burn my face. All right. They went out on their own terms. Wow. That was a great start. Let me tell you, Esper control decks in this format produce these types of games. I think that's one reason a lot of us gravitate towards these decks, is they just create really interesting grind fests. We're going to take a moment here to try and settle any audio issues, sync issues we have, and take a question. So let's see. Let me start with the audio issue. Why isn't it? There's no click. Oh, no clicking sounds here. So I am on, where's my mixer settings? All right, I have an offset going on the desktop audio that could be what's causing it to delay. So here I'm going to do a test. I'm going to slowly drag across these bubbles so they make a little ping. And then I'm going to make an adjustment, and if you tell, and first let me tell you if it's off to begin with. Is that off? Okay. Why did this number get so huge? Where's Fiddle? I feel like these numbers change on me. Well, let me try 0. Let me see what happens when I put this to 0. Okay, now... Now, let me see what the audio sounds like to you. How is that? Thanks for your help on this, by the way. Sorry it's boring, but was it better? Did it change? I need yeah, still off doesn't help. I need like so that made it better. So we went from going from that all right, down to like a well, that's weird. I'm gonna try something though. We go 13,150 divided by 2 and make that positive 6,575. 6,575. I'm just gonna try this. Here we go again. Off in the farther in the direction. Okay, so it maybe needs to go all right, I'm going to send it in the other direction. Didn't hear it. Okay, so that's too much. Gosh, this is such a weird problem. I don't even know anymore, man. So that might not have done. I might have delayed it so much that it could not even. It didn't even show up. Like it. So let me try something a little on the little negative. All right, let's try this. I just want to get it a little bit more close and then we'll call it good, but it's really annoying to watch somebody with out of sync audio, I know, so I want to try and get this a little better. Thank you for your patience again. All right, let me do... Try this. This is minus, the last one was minus 2,000. This is minus 500. When I went positive and you all said it was way bad. Anyway, here's minus 500. Alawar, honestly, is probably something I've screwed up. It is such a complicated thing under the hood here. Good enough? All right. Thank you for your patience. Let's call that good and get back to playing. It's like, I always assume it's me. I always assume I'm doing something wrong that I don't understand somewhere, but I at least have a little knob I can adjust. Well, there's the different audio channels, right? There's my mic, which is one audio channel. There's my desktop, which is another audio channel. And so if the desktop audio is out of sync, but my mic isn't, it would make sense that it's not just the output of my Streamlabs, it's all the individual elements of it. No white yet, and everything we have except for the admonition needs white. We're going first, and we do have this admonition, so I'm actually going to keep, because the rest of this looks pretty sweet. We just need to find some white. We have 7 sources. We have some turns to get there. We have an extra draw with the admonition. Oh, sorry, let me get out of your way. Yeah, let's go battlefield right here. So do you like this keep? I think I like this keep on the strength of what's left behind, but it carries some risk. This is one of the issues with the 3-color deck that we acknowledge going in. But I'm going to keep it and hope we find some of our gates, because all of our gates produce white. Yeah, exactly. It has admonition on 3, which was really we can buy a little extra time and an extra card with admonition, so I figured it was okay. I'm going to put a full control bluff on, since we have counterspell mana up. That means just tapping control so that no matter what they do, there's a pause when they put it on the stack. I suppose we had admonition anyway, but it doesn't reflect, like, now it's somewhat suggesting we have a counterspell. Why I wouldn't use it here is hard to explain, but at least maybe we make them think about it, you know? And maybe they decide, oh, the reason why they didn't counterspell is because they have this admonition they were going to use. Rough, we are having trouble finding that white. We are now 1 land away from a debtor's transport at least, but yes, we would very much like to access these cards. Uh-huh. I'm not tilted at all about this. This is the drawback we signed up for, so when it happens, you just got to roll with it. And we're not even anywhere close to dead or whatever, so we have still several turns left to find some white. That shortens our clock by quite a bit. But if we find in planes, we can judgment the Rendhorn right off the bat. Not quite, but we can at least demise the Aeromunculus. Thank you for the sub, Funktastic. Appreciate that a lot. Demir's the best, but not with this particular grip. We can demise while shields are down, or we can wait for a possible pump, but I doubt Oppo is going to be in the market for pumping Aeromunculus anytime soon. I think they're going to be playing from their hand, and probably things bigger than 3 toughness, or 3 power, so I am going to Aeromunculus, get rid of this Aeromunculus while we have the capability. And if we can find ourselves an untapped land of any kind, at least we get to drop a transport that threatens to trade with this Rendhorn. Yeah, that's the thing. We could wait for the adapt. I just didn't think it was coming. How many times do you see an Oppo go, oh, it's my 6th turn. Instead of playing this second rampaging Rendhorn, I'm going to adapt my 2/3. It's like people just don't adapt this early in the game. Don't say it. If I don't say it, it gives me a tap land. You have to be clear with the magic gods, or they willingly punish you every time. Yep. All right, we got punished. This is the losses we're gonna take with this deck. I still gave it a high mark, and I still think I like that keep. We had a lot of chances to find white, but 7 sources is it's just a little tight, you know. But that's what we signed up for. Not gonna get too bummed about that. Just gotta take that foul to give and try and come back. Anybody mulliganing that hand? Similar issues, but we do have Oligarch on 2 and Time to Never Get Blue. How do you send this back, though, with Oligarch on 2? I'm not going to do it. I'm keeping. We're going to risk again. I don't know about Sneap, but I'm keeping. We do have Depose Deploy as well with this. So we have Oligarch and Depose off of our opening, so I think that's enough to justify the keep. Now we are also any land away from a Senate Griffin, which gives us a scry, so hopefully we'll find all 4 of our colors eventually here, or 3 of our colors. Let's see. Yeah, we're not going to be drawing a card this turn, but I am going to offer up the Grandma Trade. We'll think about deposing, but only if they make it a 3/3. I'd rather just trade Grandma for the Boar and try and find our way to blue without giving up on our deploy side yet. Yeah, I'm fine with taking trades with Oppo. That's all we want to really do. Keep our life total up and try and trade. Stony Strength is unfortunate, but when we admonition it back, it's no big deal. We just need to find our blue. Maybe I'm going to give it a turn. I'm not going to depose. I'm going to untap. Try to just at least get to Senate Griffin naturally, and then if we fail, then we'll depose on their next turn. All right, well, we did find Griffin naturally, and hopefully that lets us dig for blue. Is that worth keeping despite the lack of blue? Probably not. We do need to just unlock all the blue in our hand ASAP now. So I'm going to bottom it. Not blocking with this flyer, though, so let's attack. I'm fine with this trade as well. We just want to keep trading. Keep, I'm not racing. We're not racing this, so we should be trading. Oh, deck, you're so funny. So now we're going to depose, deploy, but we'll do it on their turn and save 3 rather than do it on our turn and try to find the land for the play right now.
To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance!
Come on, deck, stop messing with us. Oy. I guess I'll just use this now, though. Oh no, I gotta wait till my main phase so it does 5. Never mind. Almost wasted a card. But I didn't. Came close. Then my format instincts came back to me just in time. Hey, look, it's a blue source. All right. Obviously, we're playing that. We have Judgment plus Admonition available. So, yeah, I'm going to leave this back so they don't think about hasting the Vandal, but then we'll... let's Admonition and then judge the Beast after. This is where a deck like ours starts to pick apart a deck like theirs unless they produce something bomby and resilient. I'm going to skip the meme this time since we literally just saw it, but... I'm going to Admonition, same Vandal, and then we may end up, like if we get a Juggler or something, we can attack and Blade Juggle. Still going to say no attacks, and I don't think green is going to mess with our graveyard. I'm fine with just clearing here. Spell density goes up. Funny. Third time is time to haste it, I guess, but we'll take that trade, as I said. Now we'll Insight, and then we have Demise if we want it on their turn. Huh. Or we can just drop Grandma. That seems fine. Well, Grandma doesn't do much against an 0-3, though. Still, there's very little they can play that we're not content to just wait till we untap to Demise, so I'll go ahead and play the Oligarch here. Actually kind of running out of cards too on a relative scale where okay, there we go. It's like usually like we want to get a lot more card flow going, and that's how we take over. And hey, just what the doctor ordered. That's going to help us with card flow quite a bit. Better to make it. I just wanted to draw cards and dig into our library and find our inevitability. Like I'm just. It almost, I don't think it matters too much, Jason. We're just trying to leverage our inevitability at this point. In this case, though, we will go ahead and exile the Gravel Hide. I got to make sure I'm not and adds 1s. They only have 3 available to them, so they can't pump it out of Demise range, but we need to get it now before they do. So we'll do that. Doing it main phase brings the Acuity back. They might have Pump. They could like play a Pump spell and save Gravel Hide, but at least then we're trading Grotesque for a Pump spell. It's almost like I wanted to draw Jason to find more tools to manage the board state, and that was more important to me than dropping a creature. All right, so yeah, they did that, but again, I'm not too concerned. It uses up the combat trick on their turn for not too much value. And we're at a very healthy 24. Can start using the eel as removal soon enough. Let's see what they find on their way. Huh. Yeah, I guess they needed land. That's a little scary, though. Hopefully this Enforcer takes care of whatever they're looking to drop with their 5th land, or 6th if you count the Caretaker source. Now we get Grandma number 2 plus Eel, or Enforcer plus Eel. I'll play Enforcer in case they play some hasty big green thing or red thing. No attacks here are worth it. Two for one yourself up, buddy. Trade all day there. Yeah, keep playing stuff. We're a little weak, except for the Enforcer here. Well, we have Binding, too. I guess we have tools. Never mind. Yeah, I'm not too worried about a Scuttle Gator at this point. We only have the one Clear the Mind, so we do actually need to kill Oppo. I'm going to keep sending in on the Death Toucher, actually, because we have a healthy life total. We can chump, we can bind the Scuttle Gator. I kind of want him to invest all the mana into the Scuttle Gator, and then we bind it. Maybe we're supposed to do it sooner because it gives us more pressure. We'll probably bind at the end of their turn regardless here. It looks like they have it. I forget. Is it 8? Yeah, they have it, so. I guess technical perfection is waiting until throwing this on at instant speed during beginning of combat so they don't have any main phase enchantment removal to unlock it. Bounce the Caretaker here, clear extra attacks. Let's just make the flyers now and bounce Acuity again. Scoop it up, Oppo. No shame in scooping it up here. Oh, I got one flyer, all right. I guess that keeps him alive-ish. This, see what else they come up with. Just a land. All right, looking great for us. Yeah, they're done. It's pretty down there, Trigger. I've run it before in mana-heavy Simic decks without good top ends, but it's not really where you want to be in the set. You're right. All right. Second win towards the stated 4.5 par. Again with missing mana, but again with expecting that to happen sometimes. And again, we have a third turn play that makes me want to keep. This Clear the Mind is really early, though. We only have the one, so ideally we use this much later. And we can't cast the eel. Maybe I do ship this one. That Clear the Mind not only being uncastable, but not good if we could cast it, kind of makes me want to ship this one. Having only the Demise to protect us, and then, like, transport is far off as well. I think the 6-drop and the useless 3 makes me want to ship this one, even though I tend to kind of keep 3 lands and a decent spell like this. It's on the edge for me, but I think that's correct. Here we're going to ditch this Plains and hopefully draw a 4th land for the Insight on time. But this is nice, 2, 3, 4. Probably going Guildgate next turn, as we're not going to be likely to bind anything they're doing on 2. Have to be quite a 2-drop. I'm not sure what I would ever bind that they would play on 2. Ah, perfect card for dropping a gate. They have a pause there. What happens if I attack into the Fairy Duelist? It's a 2-1, and then they block with their 1-2, and it's an 0-1, and they eat it. So I'm going to say no attacks, assuming the Flash Flyer. We're a control deck. The 2 damage doesn't really matter. Now they're like, well, they're playing around it. Do we just send it out, or do we try and use it later? They're going to try and use it later. Right, we can then bind it if we want to do that. But we're going to have to go into full control. I'll talk about that if we are put in that spot. But basically, if your opponent does something at instant speed during your Declare Attacker's step, and you want to be able to respond to it after the creature hits, you've got to go into full control, unless they have fixed it. All right, well, certainly smells like a fairy, fairy trickery or whatever, the duelist, but we now have Law Mage's Binding. I just don't know if we want to use it on that particular situation. I also, though, don't want to cast Insight into counterspell mana, so let's do it. That's my worry trigger. Like, but what are we doing? Not attacking? Do we just want to sit back and do nothing? So I'm going to attack, and let's and we'll go ahead and use it. We have 2 Insights. If we can just land these Insights when they're tapped out, we'll recover our card situation. Yeah, and they could have counter magic up. The fact, hey, thank you for that sub, Prof. Appreciate that. But the fact that they could have counter magic up is why I want to put them to the test, because if they play the duelist, we get to bind it. Oh, maybe no. But I'm not even going to play the Insight. We're just going to pass. Again, if we're up against Esper control or blue-white control, they haven't, you know, then we can play Insight on their turn. Oh, okay. But you messed up. Now you're giving us the freebie, right? Yep. Aren't we already in blocks? Okay, I thought so. I think Oppo messed that up. We'll take that mistake from Oppo and draw some cards here. That was like ideal for us, so I feel like that was a slip up. And man, 2 spells, no land, so we clearly need to dig for some land here too. Yeah, they save some damage, but why wouldn't they eat the... They should just eat it. I think it was just a mistake. They just played their duelist late. But Slow-Mo's in Platinum, so maybe it was just a misclick type mistake. Audio still good? Pretty easy to tell with these. Click on the cement blocks. All right, we're trading card draw. Let's play this. We can just go with Eel, but I think the card draw battle is going to be so important here, and their likelihood of counter magic is high enough that we're just going to Insight while we can. Yeah, I mean, you could Eel, hope for Acuity, but I just want to get ahead on attrition while we know the coast is clear. That's my feeling. So I'm going to do that. Now we got a decent Clear the Mine with 2 Sphinx's Insights in the yard. This is going to be a nice Clear the Mine. Decent creature against our oligarchs. We might bind that up. Oh, I might have to bind that up now. Oh yeah, we're gonna go Binding Judgment and try and get in there. Yeah, we'll hold the Clear the Mind for later. I'm just saying when we do send it later, we already have good stuff in there. Like, sometimes you can shuffle back almost nothing, but even 2 Insights is pretty decent to shuffle back into a deck like this. Yeah, not looking to do it soon necessarily, but I am looking to do it. Also wondering if I even bother with Judgment on the Duelist, but it is like a 2/2. And it can, if it stays back, it can block the Oligarch. So I am going to pick it off here. Jason wanted to hold the Judgment. Reasonable. I feel like we're aggro here. That with high alert and high toughness, we're going to be losing a long game. Yeah, now they've got total counterspell up. So if they don't play anything here, we total... Okay, they're playing it. That's fine. I really don't mind that play. because we're gonna depose. Let's see, we can depose an eel and drop him to 8. I think that's the plan. Eel gives us something to puff up and take on Pegasi. But they may be getting their defenses up here. I'm not sure we have this one in the bag or anything. Ooh, that's not bad. Not bad. We do have some removal for that eventually, though. Does it have to die, or is this leaves? Leaves the battlefield. All right. That seems like a greedy attack, because now if they drop Pegasus, they can't double block my eel with Pegasi. Now if they want to double block... Ooh, but they have an obvious play, and they've left this up, so we can assume counterspell magic, counter magic, but not even sure that matters here. What I like to do is bait out counter magic with Enforcer and then follow with Clear the Mind, but attacking with threat of activation up. Let's see. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 or 7. If we have 7, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we can't do all 3 things even with 7, so we're probably going to play the Guild Gate this turn, but let's start with the eel attack. Yeah, it could be Judgment, in which case if they block the Deputy of Detention with the eel with the Deputy of Detention, we'll just let that happen. And... okay, so that's what it was. Okay. Then we're going to Clear the Mind first and fall back on Enforcer as plan B. Consecrate Consume. Unfortunately, just lets them pick the Pegasus, which is not the worst long term, but we're going to go with Enforcer here. Save the Consume. I don't know if your idea was bad, Occam's Razor. Occam was suggesting that we could adapt the eel pre-combat, make it a 5/5, and then if they did have Judgment, we wouldn't be playing that game of chicken. And I think that was totally worth considering. It's just that we had a situation where if they did want to block, I didn't feel the need to pump, so I was cool with the trade there anyway. This feels like another, like Fairy Duelist. I really don't think a player like this is likely to be sending in a Deputy into a Death Toucher without a Fairy Duelist, but I also kind of want to make, just make them use their stuff. We're not going to... They have to send it sometime. They have to use it sometime, so let's go ahead and have them use it. And then we'll get our flyer out of it. But we need some help here. That kind of qualifies as help and does give us both of these spells. But let's start with Senate Griffin. See what's coming. We're noticing pauses from Oppo on only 2 available mana. Could be a Summary Judgment. Could be another Duelist. A lot of possibilities for white-blue at 2 mana, instant. But it's something. Don't need that. Yeah, Quench. Play this now or wait. I'm going to wait. Since it goes after biggest and they have a bunch of effectively 1 power, I mean, maybe they're just only going to be big butts, but we might find a 2/4 or something that we want to stop from being a 4/4. Just seems like firing off consume here gives Oppo too much choice when they may play something that takes away all of their choice. Well, we can't sit here taking 8 in the air every turn, so we're going to try a block. Really, the perfect draw by now would have been an exposed to daylight, because if we could expose high alert mid-combat, that would really mess him up. All right, deck, a little help off the top. S'il vous plaît. Come on. Don't take my second loss from me. Or rather, take it from me, because that would be a win, right? Woof. Still gives Oppo all the choices, since fundamentally it's all one toughness. Or one power, rather. Oh, and we draw land. The uselessest of the useless. So we consume, and they just sack their duelist, and then we're looking at 7 in the air, 10 overall. So then we have a forced block. No, we go to 11, so it's not a forced block, but this one's slipping away. We're just not finding what we need to manage this situation. The high alert's getting us. And unfortunately, yeah, we're gonna fire this off. Not much else to do. Looks like a counter, maybe. I mean, all it does is mean that we chump instead of we're forced to chump instead of not being forced to. The sad part is that getting countered here doesn't even change my feelings about this game too much. I just think we're kind of done. Stephen Hacking is asking about to what extent creative cares about science. I should get Kelly Diggs on sometime to chat with us. Kelly was a coworker of mine in R&D. He was basically the creative lead for Dominaria. So if you have any respect for creative, surely you will tip the cap to Kelly for that work, and he would be able to answer that type of stuff pretty cleanly. My guess is that Kelly would explain that grokkability and connecting with a broad swath of your player base on a card is far more important than technical accuracy on a card, but they do strive for technical accuracy when it is possible to be done within that flavor. So like another good example is like what qualifies as a dinosaur, what's a lizard. There are some things that got the creature type dinosaur that paleontologists would complain at Wizards about that are not technically what, you know, but that's again the kind of spot where yes, you might technically be correct, and even if that's the best kind of correct, the best kind of correct for Wizards of the Coast is our game is more fun and engaging than it was without that decision. So even if it's not perfect science, if they think it's better for the feel of the game, they'll do it. So we do have 11. We could just take all this. If we do, what is that getting us? One more turn to use this as a chump later. I mean, I don't think they have pump. They might have pump, though, so I guess on the off chance they have some pump spell, we better chump now. I think we're pretty done here, though. Obviously, if we draw a land, we're just straight up done. But we need some combination of, like, you know, let's see. If we get... How about draw 2 into final payment and oh, it's too late now. Summary judgment. We did have an out though. Like so yeah, if we had played what we were hoping for here is oh no, you used both of them, didn't we? No, they're both in the deck. Yeah, so we wanted to draw Sphinx's Insight, and then off the Insight draw 2 removal spells, and then we could have survived. But nope, we are way done. All right, we got our stuff there. We just got outdrawn and outbuilt around by the Acuity. Not by the Acuity, by the High Alert. And here with my big boastful 2.5 or 4.5 par, we're now up against our fouls to give with only 2 wins. So to clear par, we need to win 3 straight. Can we? I think we might be able. Well, sure we can. I don't know how likely it is. It's pretty. If it's hubris to say 4.5 wins, it's hubris to say we're going to win 3 straight. But it is certainly possible. So let's go for that. Yeah, we really needed like one more blue-white dual land. Yeah, we're totally keeping this, but it's so funny that basically every one of our hands so far has been like, here's 2 of your 3 colors. Is it good enough? In this case, absolutely. We get Acuity on 3 into Admonition, bouncing Acuity, so looks pretty groovy for a while, even if we don't find black. But, you know, if the deck wants to deliver us some black lands, we'll take it. Black producing lands. There are no black lands unless you use Painter's Servant or whatever. Second Acuity would have been nice too, yeah. I mean, ooh, but that's good too. So yeah, we've got a nice start here. If we can resolve this stuff. It gets better and better. All right, all right. Tap out for something weak so we can land this Acuity. That is not weak. But it's pretty weak to Admonition. Let him spend 6 to make it big and bounce it. We're going to go ahead with landing the Acuity while all shields are down, though. This screams of that flash counterspell creature. I'm just going to play Guild Gate and pass here. It's too devastating for them to drop a 4/3? 4/3 and counter our spell. That would be awful. Whereas this isn't doing too much to us, and I really don't want to fire off an Admonition without the Acuity value, or even a Judgment without the Acuity value, but we would, especially a Judgment. I would use a Judgment if... oh, 3/2. Sorry, it's not a 4/3. Even a 3/2, though, is rough. I'm fine that they didn't cast anything there. In fact, let's see. Let's try and draw it out. See what they want to do. If they want to counter it here, I'm okay, because then we can untap... yeah, so I was okay to draw out the Mystic there. That was by design. Just didn't want to do it on our turn. Taps them out for their turn. And let's see, we're going to go... I don't want to do Admonition yet, though. So that's a little awkward. I guess we'll use the other Judgment on the hybrid. And then replay Acuity. Well, I don't want the sneak in, so we're gonna admonition it and then possibly replay the Acuity again. But we don't want to discard either, so got to be careful of that. Might just play the Enforcer. Three mana. If we Acuity, it replaces itself. Yeah, we can play with Acuity. It doesn't make us discard, so yeah, we'll do it. Keep doing this while their shields are down. We get to sack an enchantment, right? So if we need to, we can, like, ditch the Acuity to pay the payment. All right, they got a ton of mana again. They did not drop a sneak. Again, it screams of counter magic. So now I'm just going to offer them an Enforcer. See what they want to do there. They're like, nah, I don't want to counter that. We could, like, final payment, and if they counter it, no big deal. We at least draw the Acuity, which we can replay. There was a pause. They sped through it quickly, but there was definitely a pause. Yeah, we could also just offer him a Blade Juggler. How about that? I'm going to give him a Blade Juggler. Go for it. Counter the Blade Juggler. Making sure we didn't mill our...
All right, everyone, chill.
All right, they tapped out, though. That's good. Let's see. How do we want to do this? So many options. Probably want a final payment like Chili Bee here. Then we're going to gain enough life back that I'm just going to pay the 5. We could, like, sack the Enforcer, but let's go ahead and pay 5. Kill Chili. Yeah, we could Arbiter while their shields are down as well. But... pretty appealing to, like, we could even do final payment, play Acuity, play Oligarch. I'm going to do that. I just want to keep landing this Acuity while they are tapped out. I don't want him to counter the Acuity on the way back down. Ooh. We could have Binding up, but let's just play play Grandma. Oligarch threatens to trade with Mystic. Oh, we didn't have the blue for it, right? It didn't matter. I wanted to do the other play anyway. So here, Sphinx's Insight, or we can drop the Arbiter. Drop the Arbiter, and they have Quench. We still have the 2, right? So we can. But also, I'm gonna get the life. Excuse me. I'm gonna get the life. I think we get the life. It's definitely pausing, so we got to take into account the possibility of Quench. And we did not get the land. If we played a land, we would have mana to play around Quench. But we can play Grandma and play around Quench, so I'm going to do that. They did get him some extra damage in. I mean, is there any awful Arrester's Admonition target? Really? You know, I know what you mean, but like, it's just so good to admonition almost anything. Well, it's funny, we're often these Esper decks have a lot more control magic than we have. Of course, we have Exposed Daylight for that, so that's not a big deal. Probably just going to bind the Sneak, though. Let's go Acuity. I want to find some land here. Man. Expose. But then that doesn't draw. We just admonition the sneak. That wouldn't be awful. But then we bounce this and we can't even play it. But then we find a land and we can play something. All right, I'm going to admonition the sneak. All right, there's some land. That should help us make it through this turn, potentially without discarding. Let's just expose Daylight. We missed the Acuity bonus, but it's fine. Means we don't have to discard. And we get to figure out our draw. Actually, we want land. I'm gonna actually keep that land on top. About all we want to do right now is keep hitting land drops. Vigilant Oligarch will attack. Enforcer will stay back on D. We do now have our Precious Acuity in hand with possible counter magic over here, ready to get it on the way back down. But we have so much else we can do, and we even have a Clear the Mind to put it back in that, like...
All right, everyone, chill.
All right, they have potential Quench up, but they can't really stop Acuity. I don't think there's Negate in the format, right? So let's go ahead and drop the Acuity. Oops. Clicked off of my screen. All right, I'm going to play this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. What are we doing with 7? What if we Sphinx with Lawmage's Binding up? Oh, we can't, because of the nature of the casting requirements, do all of that. We could Senate Griffin and keep Lawmage's Binding up, right? Yeah. All right, so let's do that, and then we can check what's coming. Yeah, we'll keep that on top. No good attacks there with the Chillbringer in front of Grandma. Swirling Torrent. Fun. So which one? So the blue one's going on top. Griffin's going on top. And other one's going to hand. That's fine. We're going to bind. Well, maybe fine. We'll see if this works on Chili Bee or not. If they counter this as well, we are taking some damage. But even then, not the worst. One, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. 10 mana. Well, I'm just going to try and overload with creatures here. Quench wasn't a guarantee. There's nothing they've done that where they passed up doing something to hold up to. It was just possible. It was never like a cold read. Yeah, I'm just dumping out creatures and hoping to get there. We got to resolve this Clear the Mind, or we could lose on cards. Well, we might even just win ahead of that without even needing to clear. We're building up quite a force now. Yeah, we'll offer this trade. That's fine. I guess I could have double blocked to prevent that, but I don't even care about that result too much, so that's all right. We jammin', we jammin'. Another duelist, just all duelists. Well, this is okay. I think if we don't get the acuity, but if they try to double block, we can at least save it if we want. We'll have to decide. So do we care about saving the Senate Griffin? It does pop back to a 3-2 and is pretty good on the board. So yeah, I think we do. What else are we doing with all this? They're out of cards anyway. And then 1, 2, 3, we can actually get Insight and Acuity going if we want, or we can just play Arbiter. Maybe it's fancy play not to just go Arbiter Oligarch and continue the board dominance. Yeah, let's just do that. Go wide with our card advantage. Chili bee again.
All right, everyone, chill.
Now, I'm going to start with a main phase Insight. This is fun, getting down to it. But we're going to clear the mine shortly and all will be well. Ah, fun. A little bit of a non-bow with the binding because they just get to sack the Chili Bee that's already occupied, but it's still a good play. Although I think we could argue clearing the mine now while Oppo is out of cards. They are playing counterspells. It would be really suck for them to draw a counterspell, counter the clear the mine, and then we're done, right? Let's not lose this game on accident because of that. Yeah, we do get the binding in the yard, but I want to clear while the coast is clear, if that makes sense. So let's do that after we figure out our attacks. I will even offer Sphinx for the Chili because we're going to clear the mine. Happy to get the Sphinx back in the library. This is a good attack here, but those are the only 2 good attacks we have. All right, we're up to a healthy 18 cards, most of it gasoline, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's only 6 lands left out of the 18, so we're like 1 and 3 to draw a land, or no, there's a little less. We have 1 in hand, so only 5 lands left to draw. Oppo has bottomless chilies. Is that what's going on here? It's bottomless breadsticks at Chili's or something. Yeah, Consume is live now, though. That's cool. Oh, that's what they did. They bounced their own back. That's why there was bottomless. I just glanced away for a second, didn't quite see what was happening. But yeah, we can... I guess they get to choose, but we can arrest the other one. Can we just win? We can't really just win. So let's go ahead and do the Consume. See what they give up. Because if they give up Chili, yeah, then that's fine. It might be worth, even though they get to replay Chili and pin something down, they really have no blocks here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bounce otherwise. So I'm going to, well, no, Gateway Sneak is a decent block. What would I be attacking? Nah, that's actually not good. I take it back. We're going to go ahead and attack with a Senate Griffin, though. Again, just fine to trade with all this stuff. And then big dumb transport. Another grandma. and an admonition to boot, I think we're in okay shape. All right, they gave it up. We made it to 3. Yeah, they had a sneak with no gates. I mean, you can play a sneak with no gates on just the strength of trying to get it through with admonitions or whatever, but obviously you want some gate action to get it through. We don't know what maybe they just never found their gates, though. That's possible. Let's see, where are we at on record? We're at 98 with 250 waiting for us with one more win here, getting us 98, 9. So we're like, yeah, basically tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. By Friday, we'll definitely be at 100, and we can do that Thursday or Friday. Very close, very close. But we are at noon. We've just finished a few excellent games. RNA has very GRN Demir-like gameplay when you go Esper like that. Very grindy, very decision-intensive, but very fun. Once you turn that corner, you just feel like you're in control and trying to figure out what the best way to maintain control. Buckeye Boomerang points out that it's bugged if you buy at 100. So if you buy at 100, apparently you do not get like the whatever. I don't care, Buckeye. The idea, I tell you this, I trust this much about my old coworkers and friends at WotC. If a bug like that is affecting what you should have gotten from a purchase, they'll give you, you're going to get it. Like I have no question whatsoever that by buying the thing at 100 that I won't eventually get everything owed to me for that purchase. I'm not even worried about it. Sneak with no gates. Yes, Sneak with no gates has always been a decent limited card if you're playing a blue tempo deck, and it's very nerve-wracking when Oppo plays it on 3 on the play, and you're just like, what do I do to make sure I don't get hit by that thing, right? So, yeah, it's playable. It's just you do want some gates, you know. Anyway, thank you for hanging out today. I'm going to find someone to raid. There is the Twitch Rivals going on, but let's see if we can find somebody else who is maybe not a rival and is doing some drafting. But mostly it's a bunch of rivals. Deathsy's offline. Amazonian. I don't know if Amazonian's a rival, but yeah, Twitch Rivals. Rivals. You know what? We're in one of those days where like everybody out there is in that you might be wanting to watch is basically on Twitch Rivals. So I'm going to let you decide which rival competitor you'd like to go and see. There's no real need to raid today. All split up, all sorts of choices. You can go to Twitch Rivals for the headliners, but basically plenty of options out there for you to choose today. So I'm going to decline to hand it off and instead let you make your own choices. I certainly hope you choose to come back tomorrow as we finish up this draft and march towards the magic 100 levels. It's been fun. We played a little wacky old Momir, cleared our head a little bit, and then had some decent success initially with our Esper deck, and we'll try to get it to 7 tomorrow. It's going to be tough, though. We're at 3-2, so 1 loss, and we're done with the event, but I think we can get a couple more wins, so I hope you join me tomorrow for that. Thanks, everybody.